What is up, everyone? Good. This would have been the first full week of January, right? Last week was New Year's, so markets were closed on Wednesday. President Jimmy Carter passed away, so to mourn his 100 years, the market shall be closed on Thursday. So the markets are going to be closed on Thursday, equity markets. We do have some non-farm payrolls that come out on Friday. It's a interesting decision. I don't know. They could have just easily done it on Friday, just close things up on Friday for a longer weekend. But markets shall be closed Thursday, so no trading on Thursday. Friday, business as usual proceeds. And we're expecting to have a decent little move and some volume that come out on Friday due to the non-farm payrolls. So what we got going on today, we have a pretty big focus on the Consumer Electronics Show. The world's biggest annual tech expo. It's kicking off this week in Las Vegas with more than 150,000 people in attendance. Artificial intelligence is going to be one of the biggest, factors and one of the most talked about aspects throughout this event. I know a lot of people are going to be, the big eyes are going to be on that. That's why we got NVIDIA up here on the charts. NVIDIA is going to be front and center most likely. We're going to see ranging from hardware and software for business and personal use. Over 4,000 exhibitors are hoping that the technology displayed at the event will get noticed by investors who are seeking improvements to productivity and hunting for big returns. AI was all about innovation and the possibilities in 2023 and 2024, but things are moving fast in the latest growth cycle. So the next chapter happening in 2025 will center around integration and optimization, which is what will be on display at this year's CES. And the next stage will be defined by real-world use cases that go beyond the AI hype and can offset ballooning costs by delivering profits and productivity gains via mainstream adoption. So, speaking of a successful bottom line, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang will kick off the festivities today with a keynote speech at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, so that's going to be tonight. That's expected to include GPU upgrades for the RTX 5000 series based on the Blackwell architecture. Prepare for deep learning super sampling up to 32 gigs of GDDR7 video memory and a gigantic power draw of 575 watts. So it's a big deal. NVIDIA has been one of the hottest stocks on Wall Street and even became the biggest company in the U.S. by market cap in 2024 as a symbol of the AI revolution. We're seeing NVIDIA is not too far off all-time highs after this monstrous gap on the pre-market session. Last week, Thursday markets were red, NVIDIA was green. Friday markets were green, NVIDIA was super green. So the expectations to see NVIDIA to the upside swing, it's been oversold pretty drastically in both November and December, which looked pretty attractive to me and the team. And right now we're up pre-market about just shy of 3%, 2 3/4 or so. And from all-time highs, we're about, I did that wrong. From all-time highs, we're about 3%, right, give or take a few base points, but 3% we can say. We're not very far from that all-time high, and the expectation, if we do have a strong January, which is kind of what I'm leaning on, a bullish January, we'll probably see NVIDIA breaking into the 160s, 170s, which is a general upside target. So Samsung also is introducing Vision AI, which will help TVs become aware of their surroundings, as well as clickable content exploration, real-time subtitle translations, and turning idled screens into digital artwork. Expect more in the coming days as we'll see what goes on throughout this and what kind of information we have, right? So we're probably going to see moves in AI and in semis going forth, like AI stocks. AMD is one of the biggest sleepers here. This one has been continuously climbing to the downside for a very extensive period right now. We haven't seen that kind of bullishness in AMD, as many call it the advanced money destroyer, compared to things like Broadcom AVGO as well as NVIDIA, as we've seen. So AMD, right, it looks fairly attractive. to see if we can get a little scoop to the upside swing, but realistically, we're going to have to see 135 or so start breaking, right? AMD, following along with some of the other semis, can help the strength of the overall market continue in this expected green January. You have things like Broadcom, AVGO, which has been doing pretty well after the earnings report. It's kind of holding out with this little bull flag shaping up right now. But in other news, you have Tesla as well. Tesla gapping up yet again after a monstrous rip on Friday. The expectations are to see this thing try to continuation to press even newer all-time highs. But in terms of news so far, out of news in Canada, Canada's Trudeau expected to quit as ruling party leader this week. So the expectation, some rumors came out as soon as potentially Wednesday, Trudeau might step down. Microsoft, also in terms of AI news, right? I think Microsoft is one of those sleeper big tech names that hasn't been doing super sexy over the last few months here. Has been holding in this like massive range, massive bounce, but it plans to spend $80 billion in AI data centers in 2025, which is huge. You can see a little gap higher right now. Apple hopes to moat with 2025 product releases, so Apple trying to make a late move in AI, but I don't necessarily think that it's super late. It seems like the AI quote-unquote bubble is potentially just commencing. Apple's had a tough start, or I should say equities. What can we expect? Generally speaking, honestly, the long side looks very attractive to me on the overnight. We talked about this yesterday with the team in terms of my plan for the week start, looking at that upside momentum and expecting a green Monday or at least a green overnight to start things off in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. After getting a failed acceptance move last Thursday, we tried to move into a balance to the downside, but no bueno. So right now what we're doing is we're moving through the auction to the upside above that 59.90. We're coming into that 60.40 initial target area, and my main target to the upside is 60.70 to see how we can kind of explore the start of this upper auction, ideally 61.10, and then we'll see what we can do from there. But right now, as things stand, I do lean a lot more bullish. We're expanding outside of auctions higher. Realistically, around 6,000 on the S&P. My expectations are for prices to hold those pullbacks unless we just start getting extensive upside momentum that allows prices to continue this trajectory to the upside swing. So that's what I'm starting things off with. I am looking bullish, pullbacks to be bid back up. That's my expectation. We've got about 20 minutes until the market opens. So expectations aren't that in this next 20 minutes, market's going to come crashing down and we move back into the auctions to the downside, right? My expectations are that we hold around these areas so that we could see some of that upside momentum continue throughout today. So those are my thoughts, right? The expected move today was a little more to the upside. We might have seen the majority of it, so just keep that in mind. After such a strong move to the upside swing in equities on the overnight session, it's not out of the ordinary to see a pullback for profit taking to come through, right? It makes total sense for that to happen, so just keep that in mind. Don't just start buying everything right off the open, right? Think about it. And then the buyers might come in at a later push. So with that being said, I hope everyone has an amazing start to their week. We'll continue on, and let's open up our trading room. I'll see you guys in there.